What's up, everybody? Coach CeeLo, and welcome to the No Bullshit Six-Figure Sales Podcast. And today, I say this every time, right? But we really do have somebody very special. The thing is, these are everybody that I'm bringing to you guys, or almost everybody that I'm bringing to you guys, are people that are personal friends of mine, people that I've known over the years. And today's guest is someone that I have the utmost respect for. Let me tell you something. At the age of 22, he was already regional vice president of a telecom and energy company with over 10,000 sales reps under him and over 15 to 20,000 customers. Extremely successful, making tons of cash, because I remember back then even how he was rolling. And nowadays, young kid. Now he's an adult. And he's in the wealth management, killing it, making well above six figures in wealth management and in private consulting. A good friend of mine. I want you all to welcome Mr. Carlos Jimenez. Carlos, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing amazing, man. I'm doing amazing.
I'm so glad to have you here, man. Of course, here at the No Bullshit Six-Figure Sales Podcast, we know who you are, all right? We're all a tight-knit group of friends that know each other. But there's a lot of people out there who don't know, right? So I always like to just jump right in and let them know, how did Carlos Jimenez become Carlos Jimenez?
Perfect. Awesome. Well, first of all, I love the name. No bullshit. I love it. And it gives me the green light to curse every now and then.
Yes,
is that cool?
absolutely.
I believe that your audience and the guys that we're talking to and the girls are sharks.
Yeah.
Right? We're in sales and all that good stuff. So anyways, I know you're Christian Lopez, but I know you as CeeLo. CeeLo, right? So I remember that one time in New York, that we met somewhere by like Times Square.
Yeah.
And I was talking about the crypto stuff. And I think you were living in New York at that time, right?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, so we go way back. I mean, we've known each other for well over a decade, and we stayed in contact. We're Cuban brothers as well, so.
And you're responsible, actually. You play a very large part in my education in crypto and in Forex.
That's right.
If you hadn't have come along, that spark may have never happened, or may have happened a lot later than it did. So I owe you that.
Yeah, because we had that conversation and you were like, I'm not too sure. And then you just dove right in. I think it started with that meeting we did somewhere in like Plantation or Pompano. Remember that meeting we went to?
Yeah. No. That's when I went serious. Heavy. That's when I went nuts. But I'm saying the initial conversation that sparked the interest was when we met in New York City.
Yeah. I remember that. It was good times. It was before COVID. But yeah, I mean, I've known you for well over a decade, and I mean, you want me to introduce myself to the crowd, and for sure, I mean, guys, my name is Carlos. I'm a regular guy, 36 years of age. I'm a proud Cuban, born in Cuba. I always tell people I came on a boat, because I did at the age of 5. So I'm one of those guys that fled communism, fled government dictatorship for the land of freedom. Now, I was 5 years old, so, shout out to my parents and my grandfather. My grandfather is 94 years old today.
Wow.
Still alive, still doing,
Shout out to Grandpa. What's his name?
Great. Julio.
Julio. Shout out to Julio.
Papi Julio.
Papi Julio.
Papi Julio. And, because of him and my parents, they made a decision in 1994 to leave communism, come to America. That's a story for another day, because we were on the water. Boat broke down. American Coast Guard picked us up. But ever since the beginning of my adult life, or when I had a conscience, I understood that I was in this country and it was a privilege, and I understood that I was chasing freedom, because that's what my family taught me, how to chase freedom. So my story started, the entrepreneurship story, for me started in high school. I had a class in, I think it was 11th grade. I'll never forget this guy's name. I've never seen him again. The teacher was Mr. Eichelbaum. And Mr. Eichelbaum, it was economics. Now in economics, you're learning about what? Right? You're learning about money, and you're learning about, I guess, like it was like history.
Assets, right? And liabilities.
Correct, like ledgers. It's kind of like accounting, right? But this teacher, every single day, was literally in a stock market. Like, he was trading stocks. He was trading stocks.
Oh, I like him already, bro.
Yeah, and 30 people in the class, I bet 28 of them were just like, whatever, listening to music, hanging around, doing high school stuff. I was paying attention. I was like, I like this. I like where this guy's going with it, because he's a high school teacher, but he's teaching us about investing and money, right? So that's when everything sparked for me, right? And then right when I got out of high school, I was 17 years old when I got out of high school, I got a job making $10 an hour, like everybody else, security guard for a company called Wack and Hut. And in that job, I used to read a lot, because it's like 12-hour shift, just sit there reading, doing nothing. And I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, I was still working. but I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I don't know about you, but you've read the book.
Of course,
right?
Kiyosaki,
And
everybody.
the Cash Flow Quadrant,
Yeah.
and then dozens of books after that. That book for me sparked not my curiosity, because I don't know, it was something about when you read the book, you kind of already knew what the book, I felt like I knew already what was in the book. It was confirmation that I was thinking the right way. I don't want to work for nobody. I want to work for myself. I want to be financially free. And the book gave me that sauce, right? So it all started there. Funny story, to go into the first business that we did together. I read the book. It must have been around, don't quote me on this, but May or June. I went to my first ACN meeting, 1st of July, 2nd of July of 2008, right? Now I got exposed to network marketing. I got exposed to business. I got exposed to investing. I got exposed to leverage, to residual income, right? I'm 18 years old. I'm 18 years old. I have no idea what's going on, but the energy in the room, everything was exactly what I read in the book, right? 4th of July comes around. I'm at my job. I start acting up. I promise, it's a true story. My girlfriend at the time and her family, they're going to spend 4th of July for the fireworks at the beach somewhere in Hollywood. I'm working in Pembroke Pines. And I want to be at the beach. I want to be at the 4th of July party. So I started acting up. I got fired from my job. I was so happy to get fired because, number one, I hated it. Number two, I was so optimistic about the meeting that I went to 3 days before, right? 4th of July. It took me to the 30th of July to finally join the company, get started. It was a $500 investment, a couple trainings here and there. It took me a whole month to get closed. To actually join the business. At that time, my birthday, I turned 19 years old, so I was 19 when I joined the company. And that's where it all started for me. I went to a meeting, and I think it has a lot to do with the Rich Dad Poor Dad experience and having a job that I hated.
Right.
Because then I realized, okay, there's something more, right? At that first meeting, I met a gentleman. I think you had him on the podcast a few months ago. He was bringing in like multiple 5 figures a month at the age of like 21, 22, 23 at the time. I was blown away. So that's when I started paying attention. And then if you wanted me to get into the journey of how that unfolded to a RVP position, I could.
Sure, it's up to you, man.
So for me, man, it was hard. It was hard. You're 19 years old. You're in the world of sales. You're in the world of business. One of my biggest challenges was that I was younger than everybody, because the company we were with was a telecommunications company, right?
Yeah.
We were offering utilities like cell phone bill, internet bill. We were offering a dream. We were offering an opportunity to escape the rat race and become financially free. And I'm 19 years old from Hialeah. Like Hialeah, 19 years old, you're a little rough around the edges, right?
Right.
So I had to really dive into personal development, heavy. This was before social media. This was before Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, Ty Lopez, before all these gurus that you see online, your local influencer. We had to go where to get the information? Audios, cassette tapes, the library, books, right?
Yep.
And it's hard. It's hard when you're a 19-year-old kid, because that's what I was, from a city that everybody is just being a goofball, right? We're in high school. We're getting out of high school. And I'm over here going to these training events and learning from individuals that I see myself in their suit, in their shoes, in their car, but I just haven't caught up to it. And the difference between me and them outside of the money and the organization was the personal development, right? So for me, it was all about personal development. It took me 2.5 years to figure it out. 19 years old, 20 years old, 21 years old. Every Saturday morning, we had a 10 a.m. training, right?
Yep.
Every Friday night, we had a 7 p.m. to a 10 p.m., 11 p.m. sometimes, private leadership, right? Every Tuesday night, we had an event, and I will go to every Tuesday training, every Friday training, every Saturday morning training, every Monday night conference call. To these trainings, I will wear the same shirt. I will wear the same pants because I had no money, right? But what I had was a hunger for knowledge. What I had was a hunger for, I want what they have. And they were telling me that I have to learn certain skill sets to get to that level. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it took me 2.5 years. 2.5 years to become competent enough to start making consistent money, right? You remember team coordinator?
Sure.
Team coordinator. That's when I started making $10,000 a month. But it took me almost going on 3 years to get to that level. Now, if we're being specific about a breakthrough that I had, and I was thinking about this yesterday because I knew I was coming on the podcast. I'm like, man, what's one of the breakthroughs that I had in the field? Because you have a lot of breakthroughs in life. You have a lot of breakthroughs in business and promotion.
Or in events and stuff, right?
Events, you have epiphanies, you have paradigm shifts, right? But what was a breakthrough that young Carlos had when he was on the field doing the work, getting dirty, right? I'll give you the breakthrough right now. And there's a story that I had to Think about yesterday, because I haven't thought about this in years. There was this, we used to do home meetings, right? We called them PBRs, private business receptions. And those before Zoom. So everything was belly to belly, right? This particular home meeting was a gentleman that joined my organization. He used to work at T-Mobile. He had a lot of influence. He ran like 4 stores, district manager. He brought all his guys, all his T-Mobile like real reps that were making real money to this meeting. However, T-Mobile closes at 9:30 p.m. So the meeting started like at 11 p.m., right?
This is late night.
This is late night.
Okay.
We're in the backyard by the pool. Remember Carl Smith?
Yeah.
I believe he's going to be on one of your episodes,
Yeah.
right? He was my mentor at the time. So me and Carl go to this meeting.
Shout out to Carl.
Shout out to Carl. 2 things that I got to note about this before I tell you what happened in the meeting. I pulled up in a car, like I rolled up in a car that the driver's door was not working.
Oh, no.
I rolled up in a car where it was like, what do you call it? A hoopty-doopty? I don't know what you call these cars, right?
Yeah.
I had my high school car with me, but I'm presenting this business. I'm presenting
As a professional.
Correct. So I parked 4 blocks away. I parked 4 blocks away. I go very far because these guys are making dough. These guys are at Dolphin Mall, Broward Mall, Pines Mall. They're putting up in BMWs, Mercedes, and at the time, this is 2010, I believe at the time, like,
It's intimidating.
yeah,
man,
and I'm here to sell you on something that I think is going to change your life, and it will, and it did for many of them. But I'm pulling up in a rusty car, so I had to park 4 miles away, right? That's like, think about that, right? So that happened. Meeting started at 11 p.m. Here was my breakthrough. My breakthrough was that I was in a point in my business that for 2 years, I really hadn't made any money. I had quit my job. I had done some great things. Maybe I'll explain later. Because remember, my story was I bought my parents a house. I did. Right? But this was before this meeting.
Yeah, that was the reason. I remember you used to say one of the reasons why I got into this was because I wanted, so I want to hear about that later. All right.
We will. I'll break it down because it's an amazing story, and I had the confirmation because, sometimes you remember these stories and they're like 12 years ago, 15 years ago, and like, am I being delusional? Like, did I really do that? I confirmed it with my dad the other day. He's like, yeah, you gave us the money for the house. And I was like, that's right, they gave me money.
And you forgot about it?
And not that I forgot about it, but sometimes you just like, did I really? And I'll explain why. It was through like investments and stuff. But anyways, back to the breakthrough, right? At that meeting, it was like, I wasn't making money. I was really struggling. I was still in college at the time. I was contemplating getting a job, and I didn't really want to. At that meeting, man, we had 16 guests in that meeting. We went up there by 1 a.m, late night. We had 15 out of the 16 people that signed the application.
Wow.
Now, to join our company back then was $500, $499, right? Which $499 today, back then, is the equivalent of like $1,300 today with inflation, right?
Right.
It was a good amount of money especially for young people back then. And we got 15 out of 16 in that meeting that got closed into the company. I couldn't believe it. We did our job. We set up the launch for the next day. I'm in Miami-Dade College the next day, back in school. I'm walking around school. I know I got this on a schedule. I'm working with Carl, and I get a phone call from our mentor at the time, Max, right? First time he ever called me, by the way, because at the time I'm 20 years old. I'm nobody in this company, but we just signed up 15 out of 16. We closed 15 out of 16. Sharks. We outsharked the sharks, and we got them to pay $500 and to commit to our vision.
Give me a second before you get there. So you're in this hoopty. You park 4 blocks away.
Yeah.
I don't know if you already knew what you were walking into, but as you're getting there, you're seeing all of these nice cars parked outside, because we got our guys in our audience that they're very good salespeople, but they may be calling on people who are much more successful than them, or they may feel a little intimidated. What did you do to shift yourself?
Act as if.
Okay.
I remember in our Spartan trainings, again, the personal development side of things, where, don't quote me on this, but it was something in the ballpark of, if you were making $100,000 a month, how would you show up to that meeting? If you were already that Carlos or that Christian that was already making $25,000 a month, how would you show up? How would you communicate? How would you shake the hand? How would you make the eye contact? The problem is that if you're making $3,000 a month, or if you're in major debt and you got to fake it till you make it, that's cool. But if that aura shows, the sharks are going to eat you alive. So you got to show up like you're already there. You got to show up like you're already a $100,000 a month entrepreneur, right? And that's what I did in that meeting. I showed up and I said, okay, I'm in Miami. These are all my Miami people. These are people that I relate to. But, some of them were making more money than me at the time. But I know what I got. I'm confident in what I got. I know what I'm sitting on. I know the vision of where we're going. Let me show up like I already have it.
And it was 100% legit. Like, you know, it's just you saw yourself in what you knew was going to happen in the future,
100%
not
legit.
at that moment.
I ran that company for 10 years.
Yeah.
Legit, right? But at that moment of time, I wasn't legit. At that moment of time, I was just a regular kid going through the motions, right? The phone call, Miami-Dade College, I got the phone call from our upline. First phone call ever. So that's the breakthrough. When you get a phone call, like imagine being a part of like the Miami Heat and Pat Riley calls you after 3 years of being with the Miami Heat.
Right.
And you're 20 years old, you're like, whoa. First phone call, right? So I get the phone call, I was like, hey, did you really sign up 15 people? I'm like, yeah, I see it in the system. He's guiding me through like, what are the next steps? Obviously, I'm working with Carl. We have it all under control. But that was my breakthrough, bro. When I got that phone call and I realized, damn, I impressed the coach.
The guy on top.
I impressed Pat Riley. And what we did was pretty impressive. 15 people. At that time, it was like a $4,000 commission. So I secured about a $4,000 commission within my comp plan, within the position I was in the company. And of course, the momentum that came from it was pretty impressive. 2 weeks later, I quit college. 2 weeks later, I dropped out because I was, okay, now I'm making $4 or $5 grand a month. I know where this is going to go. I know what I'm doing. I talked to my parents at the time. They weren't too happy about it because obviously nobody wants their son to quit college. But for me, it was more about what I really wanted to do. And I don't want to work for nobody, man. And, you know, I used to go to school and you see the teacher and you see the students. And at that moment of time, you're 2 years into personal development. You've gone to conferences, you met people of all walks of life, and you're like, I don't have anything in common with these people. I have more in common with these people. So let me drop out for a second here and let me just go full time. And that's what happened. You know, that's what happened. That was my breakthrough on the field. That was a 15 out of 16.
And you know, those were some amazing days, man. Yeah. We had so much fun doing those PBRs. And the funny thing is, that won't ever happen again. Because the way the world's changed, that the way that business is done is never done that way anymore. It's all done through Zoom and everything else. So that doesn't really happen anymore.
It's a privilege. The Zoom stuff is, man, you could expand a lot faster. You could scale a lot faster. But the skill set that we picked up on that belly to belly and that in-person grind is priceless. Now, there's people today that they could watch 10,000 hours of videos. It doesn't equal the first time that I had to speak in front of 20 people in a private living room to sell what I was selling at the time or offer what I was offering. Like that belly to belly experience, priceless. You know, so we got the best school in the world. That was the best school for me by far, you know?
You know, there's a phrase that you've said, and I've borrowed it from you. I've made it my own. When you talk about the ACN pedigree, right? The pedigree. All of us came from that school, and it was amazing. So, all right. Clearly, you get to 22, you hit regional vice president, super successful, making a lot of money. And then, of course, like everybody else, you move on. You do other things, right? What else? So how did we get to where you're at right now? I think
it's important to know because at the beginning you mentioned 10,000 reps, 15,000 clients. That is true. But I didn't have that at 22. At 22, I hit regional vice president.
Okay.
You know, so it was the process of 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Those 5 years was where I was really rolling in dough. Like I cleared, you know, not to brag, but at the time it was a lot, over $1 million in that 5-year window in my ACN journey.
Right.
Like 1099, $1 million. And that's where we built the 10,000. I didn't have 10,000 at 22. I would have been a genius, right? At 22, I hit the position. Okay. And I think before we get into where we're at now, and because there's a lot that I've done since then, I think it's something important. Again, I'm thinking of all the breakthroughs. There's something. Let me explain how the buying my parents' house.
Worked. Yeah.
That was pretty awesome, man. I'm so proud of it because you spend your entire life, and I know a lot of the sales guys here could relate. You know, and now I'm older. I'm 36, so I've shifted. But you remember me when I was younger. When I was younger, I was a shark. When I was younger, I was tunnel vision. We would go to these events, and I remember like Luisa would say, I used to hate you. Me and Luisa are really good friends today. I used to hate you. Why? Because you wouldn't talk to nobody. You were all about you and your organization, and you wouldn't shake no. And it's true. I was selfish because I was taught to be selfish. I was taught to, I guess, lead with my ego, which is part of the destruction of what we built, right? But I was taught those things, right? But when I really look at the core of who I am, the story I'm going to explain right now shows how unselfish I really am.
Right.
And I'm proud of it. And I never think about this. It just hit me the other day. And I just figured it's something we should share, right? So when I was in Miami-Dade College, right? Again, broke, busted, and disgusting. I had no money. I was going through the personal development journey, going to the meetings, building it out, trying to figure this thing out, right? I make like $5,000 or $6,000 in the comp plan, stretch that money out. I'm living with my parents. We're going through a foreclosure, 2008 crisis. We're going through a foreclosure, right? Foreclosure took over a year. So we're there 2009, 2010. Eventually we lose the home. I think it was $3,500, if I'm not mistaken, of my hard-earned money. And I invested into a stock called WorldGate Communications, WGAT. You weren't around back then, but remember when we had the video phones?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I came in, I think, right towards the very ending of that because FaceTime happened and then it kind of ruined everything from there, you know?
And there's where the Mr. Eichelbaum comes in.
Yeah.
Because ACN, the company, was promoting the video phones. The manufacturer of the video phones was called WorldGate, and they went public in the stock market. Now, an arena of 30,000 people, maybe 29,700 didn't pay attention to it. But guess who paid attention to it?
Yeah.
Me.
You were one of the
Because
three.
I understand. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Mr. Eichelbaum, economics, right? So I got my $3,500. I invested in WorldGate Communications. I forgot the price. It was like 20 cents maybe. Don't quote me on that. You can Google it, WGAT. And within like 2 or 3 months, those $3,500, I remember specifically I was in Miami-Dade College. I'm in college, room of 40 people. We're learning whatever we're learning. I have a laptop. One of those laptops that is like the HP, and it has to be plugged in for it to work. So if it's not plugged in, it doesn't work. And I had tape. So like super like bootleg, right? I had tape on it. I plug it in. Why do I plug it in that particular day? And there's a whole classroom going on, but I'm in the back. The reason I'm plugged in is because my E-Trade account is showing $22,000 in green from that $3,500 investment. I'm broke. I'm still figuring it out. I haven't done the 15 out of 16 meeting. Like I haven't created the momentum yet, but I had $22,000 in green. I run out of the classroom. I leave the laptop connected. I call my pops, my dad. Hey, like we're showing $22,000 in green. My dad, the conservative that he is.
Take it out.
Take it out. Sell it right now. Sell it right now. I'm like, no, it's going to go to the moon. It's going to go to the moon. Sell it right now. I get back in the classroom. True story. 22, 23, 22, 21, 22, 23. Eventually, like around 19,000 and some change, I decided to get out. And I hit the sell button in that classroom, over $19,000. And I'm like, what is going on? This is crazy, right? The settles, get out of school. Eventually, the full $19,000 I gave it to my parents to buy the house. The full 19, which at the time was all I had. Now, the down payment for the house was $38,000. I gave them half of the 38. I think my sister took care of them on the other half. And we got a brand new home where today they're still living in that home. You know, so that was part of my journey because I used to always go to the meetings and part of sales, right, is storytelling. Storytelling is probably the key when it comes to sales, right? If you're a good storyteller, you're going to make millions and you're going to capture the crowd. You're going to paint your vision and you're going to do what needs to get done, right? My story was, I want to buy my parents a house. I want to buy my parents a house. And I accomplished that. You know what I mean? So that was another breakthrough for me because that's when I realized, like, man, like, you really got it. Like, you got it. You could do this. You could make it happen. And then I guess all that confidence started building up. And then eventually the breakthroughs happened at 22, like you mentioned. I hit regional vice president. What a journey. What a journey to hit regional vice president. But we got it done. I think at the time I was probably the youngest person to do it. Then another gentleman by the name of Mark Isaac. Shout out Mark Isaac in Texas. Then he hit it. I met him at a retreat. We became really good friends. I think he was 21 when he hit it. It was just an amazing time, man. And by the age of 26, I had a nasty organization, huge organization. I'm talking about the biggest pyramid in the world, right? It was like the biggest just organization that you could think of. And eventually, to transition to the question you asked me, by the age of 26, I moved to New York. That's when we met in New York. I was trying to build my company in New York because of the deregulation of electricity. Unfortunately, what I was building in New York wasn't growing to the speed that I needed to grow. And what I left behind in Miami was falling apart. So I had to make a decision. This was hard for me. This was very hard. It took over a year of like really getting over it. I came back to Miami. There was a hurricane in Miami, November 2016 or December. And I decided to move back to Miami, leave everything behind in New York and New Jersey, come back to Miami, move back into my parents' house. Because now at this point, I lost it all. Like the cash flow wasn't flowing anymore, right? Living off my savings. And I remember sitting there in December of 2016 at 27 years old saying, damn, what now? because I mentally quit. After 10 years of building this company, I mentally quit.
It's a hard when you have a big fall like that. It's
It's the worst.
it's hard, you know. And
Yeah.
I always say that it's important for every person for that to happen at least once because then you can see what you can do of how you build yourself back up.
You look at the
But
man in the mirror, and the man in the mirror is either going to make you or break you, right? And at the same time, I mean, you remember I had the Audi R8, I had the condo, I had $30,000 in suits, I had the trips, I had the girlfriend. I lost it all. Lost the girl, lost the car, lost the suits, gained like 20 pounds, like everything gone, just humbled, right? And was it to my doing? That's a podcast for another day because I could go into an hour of why the company, our business fell apart, right? A lot to do with ego and just disconnections, right? But the point is, when I got back to Miami, I had to make a mental decision to walk away. In 2017, I got, obviously, a lot of people know me and was getting phone calls and offers for other deals, other companies, other situations. And that's when I got introduced to Bitcoin. I got introduced to the crypto world and Bitcoin. And that's when I said, okay, let me go to Long Beach. I went to Long Beach, California. I remember I went there for the crypto, but I remember meeting Tim Herr. Remember Tim Herr?
of course, TH.
That was pretty
Shout
cool.
out to TH,
That
man.
was
I
pretty
wonder if
cool.
he's still out there. You got to be out there. I'm sure you are.
He is. You can get him on. You
Yeah.
can get him on. I can reach out to him. But yeah, and I don't know. I got into the crypto world. What I had in my savings, I put it in crypto. I saw my crypto go to 6 figures. I'm new to the game. I see the 6 figures crash to like 19 grand. Remember the crypto crash in
Yes.
2017?
Yes.
So I'm back in depression mode. I'm back in like, oh, what the heck is going on, right?
You're
But
like, why didn't I do like I did with the house?
Correct. Because you thought it was going to go up forever in 27. We're talking about 2017. Like the president of the United States wasn't talking about crypto. There was no ETFs. There was no arena named after crypto. Like 2017 was like a scam, right? It is what it was. But I'm in the game. I'm learning from people that know what's going on. Long story short, I'm in. I see it go up. I see it go down. Middle of 2017, I'm like, what am I going to do? I have the skill set. I have the network. I have the hunger. I'm bilingual. I'm in Miami. I've done it. I got the resume. I'm getting the phone calls, but what am I going to do? And then that's when I got flown out. I was in Vegas with Carl for a crypto, I guess like a crypto conference because we were in crypto. And then I got a phone call from a good friend of mine to fly us to San Francisco. And that's when I was trying to promote my crypto, but in reality, I was getting flown into a financial firm, a company that is today in business. I'm in partnership with them. And that flight changed my life forever because that was in 2017. So I got exposed to the real world of finance. What I mean by that is at the time, I was in sales.
Right.
At the time, and this is in 2017, the investment in the stocks for my parents' home was like in 2010. We're 7 years apart, right?
Right.
But at the time, I'm in crypto, getting scammed, losing money, up and down, volatility, all that good stuff or bad stuff. But then I got exposed to real finance. I got exposed to real wealth management. I got exposed to a world that I wish I would have learned about when I was 17 or 18 years old. And I probably did get exposed to it, but I gave it a blind eye because when you're from Miami and you're young, you want the now money. You want the quick money. You want the what is it, instant gratification. And I put all that to the side, right? But in 2017, at the age of 28, I believe I was, that's when I got exposed to finance. And that's when I really said, okay, what is this about? Took me like a year to figure it out. Got to get your license, I'm creating new partnerships. I'm getting over everything I had going on. And then in 2020, when COVID hit, right, that's when I really got locked in. Here's why. Part of what I do is I help people build wealth by leveraging insurance products. I could, you could give me a call and I could show you how we set it up. And part of the insurance products is that when it's called indexing. When the market has a negative year or a negative turn in the market, your 401ks take a hit, your Roth IRAs take a hit, your stocks take a hit, your crypto takes a hit, heck, your real estate takes a hit. It's all volatile. But when you have your money in financial products with insurance companies structured the right way, keyword, structured properly, you have a 0% floor. You don't take a hit. So when COVID happened, the market crashed like 58%. Remember that, March of 2020?
Yeah.
I think one Bitcoin was like $3,000.
I remember
one
that.
Litecoin was like $12.
Bitcoin had gotten as high as, I think it had hit like 20 and then it went down to
Correct.
3.
Correct. Yeah, in 20, it hit like 19,800 and then it went to 3 because of COVID. Then eventually it hit 69,000 and now where we're at. 4-year cycles. Another podcast for another day because I could teach you about crypto all you want. But I remember in 2020, like I'm at the barbershop, people are struggling. And I'm hearing about people's Roth IRAs getting hit 40%, 15 years of putting your money away for your retirement. And when you had 300 grand, now you have 140 grand. Like, it was
Ouch.
bad. But my clients that I had at the time and our company clients, they were all protected. And that's when I said, wow, this is it. This is what everybody needs to do. This is what I need to now show people that is out there. Because, hey, Carlos, what are you doing nowadays? Hey, what are you into nowadays? It was always this. It was always that. It was always crypto. It was this. And nothing was stable. Nothing was really like a real foundational thing that you could build on. This right here is the real deal. So that's when I got locked in 2020 or 2021. And yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I'm a senior broker for Archshire Financial. It's going great. I love it. I spend all my days just talking to clients, helping clients out. Just yesterday, I helped a client roll over a 401k. They wanted a more aggressive plan with protection, and we were able to set them up, with some infinite banking and different features that we have in the plans. And I love it. Right now, my partner in that is Carl Smith. We're looking to set up shop here in Miami very soon, meaning we're going to open up an office, an establishment, and just really be, I guess, a voice for finance and wealth management in Miami for the community. And that's what I'm working on nowadays, and it's fun. But the journey to get there is interesting. And another one of the epiphanies, I guess you could call it, is I always ask myself, okay, Carlos, you're 36, right? You've done all this great stuff, but I have no real estate to show for it. Like, the money I made in ACN, I didn't buy one property. My advice was buy more cars, buy more suits, buy the Breitling. Nobody taught me. My parents did, but you don't listen to your parents, right? You listen to everybody but your parents, right? And then that's when it hit me. Okay, there's something you should have done when you were 22. If you were 22, 23, and you would have used these products to your advantage, oh my God, today you would be so different, so well off, right? So that's why I'm passionate about what we do, and it's amazing. It's a lot of fun,
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
You started really young in this journey.
Mm-hmm.
Really young and making a lot of money. Could bring a lot of mistakes, but also a hell of a lot of fun, right?
Uh-huh.
So what kind of story or like incident or anything that you could think of that was like wild or crazy?
I mean, I don't know if we could say it here, but you guys remember Passion nightclubs at the Hard Rock?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Pangea. Was it Pangea? I got stories for days there. Stories for days, But I mean, I know where you're going with it. I mean, I remember when I bought my first exotic car. I was 21 years old. When I had the R8, I was 22. 22 years old with an Audi R8 in Miami was pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
And I wasn't the kind of guy that was going to like the clubs. I was working. We were doing 5 meetings a day, 8 meetings a day, 10 meetings a day. Looking back at it now, like, man, I should have pulled up to more restaurants and spots and clubs like Club Live, right? But no, yeah, I mean, when I bought that car, that was insane. That was like a 9-hour day at the dealership.
Oh my God.
My credit wasn't good enough to get the car because I'm 22 years old. So my dad has to get out of work. My dad has to go to the dealership with me in Doral and sit there for 9 hours. My dad in his work clothes and in chancletas. I'm wearing chancletas the entire time. And I ended up buying over $100,000 car. That was one of the fun toys that I had, which honestly was a tool. Because if you know me, I don't care about cars. Like, if you know me, I literally do not care about cars. Like, I'm good on that, right? But it was a tool for the business. Because sometimes tools help you build.
Sure.
You agree? Like, tools help you build.
Sure,
Like,
it was a lifestyle magnet.
yeah, I remember I was in New York. This is way back, obviously. Random. I'm going to a networking event because we're taught to network. And I'm in the elevator in Manhattan. Literally, like, in an elevator in Manhattan, getting to this networking event that I found on Eventbrite while I'm living in New York. And this is not while the ACN. I'm not living in New York. I'm in New York for a crypto thing, and I'm networking. In the elevator, some guy in Aaron Burt's team. He's like, hey, you're Carlos, right? I'm like, yeah. You're the guy with the R8, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm the guy, the R8 in Miami, Team Dynasty. He's like, oh, I love all your videos. I love everything you've done. I'm in Aaron Burt's team. Tools. The car got me, I think, Baltimore.
It was a brand. It was part of your brand.
It was part of the brand. There was a YouTube video. There was all this. It was all before social media, but there was YouTube. So we had YouTube videos and all that. And the car, although it was a very expensive tool, because it was a very expensive tool, it was necessary to level me up and give me that posture, that confidence to walk into rooms and act as if. But at this moment, I'm not acting as if. I'm it.
Right.
I got the car. You know what I mean? So that's part of it. I mean, I think your question was like some fun things. I think I just turned it into a business answer, but the car, man, getting that car was like life-changing, man. It was so much fun. Of course, I had trips to Vegas, Lake Tahoe. I did a bunch of cool things too, but I don't think it's proper to talk about those
It's all right. It's all right.
those parties and those trips on the podcast.
They were there, believe me.
They were there.
Carlos, everybody knew about Carlos. All right, so how about, we talked about a breakthrough moment, right, which was an awesome story.
Yeah.
But how about like a money breakthrough? What would you say was either the most money you've ever made or the biggest check you got, or that moment when you got it and you're like, oh, crap, I can't believe I just did this.
Yeah. My biggest check was $11,000 and some change for the week. Remember, we used to get direct deposits every Saturday morning. Again, ACN, right? My biggest check was 11 grand for the week. And then the following week was like 7, and the following week was like 5, and then 7, and then 8. That moment right there, that 3-year window of making comma checks every week, some 5 figures, some close to 5 figures, that was it. That was life-changing, man. And I remember, again, young, not experienced, I remember doing different investments. I remember one day sitting down, I was in North Carolina with my girlfriend at the time, and I remember just like really going through it, not going through it like, meaning going through it like just looking at my finances, right? And I'm looking at it, and I was down $135,000 in investments. And this is not the answer to your question, because you asked me a different question, but now I'm just...
You're riffing on it, yeah.
I remember the number 135 because I put $20,000 in a company in Guyana, Africa. I wasn't investing in the gold. I was investing in excavators for the gold.
Right.
I got scammed 20 grand. I remember putting $16,000 in Express Dip Miami with Remix. Shout out Remix, rest in peace. My best friend, at the time, put 16 grand into a business with him. Lost of 16 grand. I remember putting 15 grand into Grill It. Remember Grill It?
Yeah.
With one of our good friends, right? Lost 15 grand in Grill It. When you add it all up, I remember putting $38,000 in HOAs. I got sold on this HOA real estate. This guy called Joe behind Tootsie's. Go meet him. He's the owner of this trucking company. He's going to be your partner. I go over there. I'm the young guy with money. I'm in the R8. People are taking advantage of me. I don't know any better. But you know what I am doing? Every Saturday, I'm making 7 grand. So I don't care if I lose it in my mind because it's coming right back, right?
Right. You had a risk tolerance. You were okay with that.
Yeah, but I shouldn't have done it, right?
Right.
I remember that particular investment, I lost $38,000. It was like 21 or 22 grand in a little property in Davie. And then it was like another 15 in Miramar, vice versa. 15 in Davie, like a cottage dorm, and then 20 something in Miramar. But I was buying like a $400,000 property for like 20 grand because I was paying the HOA fees. I thought it was legit. Ultimately, it wasn't. I lost 38 grand to the courts because we paid the courts. So when you add it all up, I remember sitting there in North Carolina and I had $135,000 in losses. And I was like, what am I doing? Like 135 grand in losses? Like, how silly could you be? Now, a lot of that was still pending at the time. I was like, oh, I could get this back. Maybe the Africa thing works.
Yeah, maybe one will offset the other.
Maybe the Grill It thing works. Maybe the Tabinator thing works. None of that actually worked. And I remember losing 100. Like, I remember deciding, like, okay, I lost 135 grand. But it's okay because I was rolling in dough. I had cash flow, right? That was pretty nasty. That was like an eye-opening experience for me because I was just spending the money and trusting the wrong people with my investments at the time. One thing I wish we would have had, amazing school that we had, right? We had the best school in my opinion, but I wish we would have had better mentorship when it came to managing your finances. I really wish, I really wish that the OGs, because at the end of the day, we had 40,000 reps that were part of our movement. We had 3,000 people in all of our trainings at times. And out of the 40,000, only 4 of us hit regional vice president and above. And we were all in our mid-20s, early 20s, mid-20s. There was OGs in this company, like the Greg Provenzanos, right? Like the Mike
like the founders.
Like the founders and OGs.
Yeah.
That I asked myself, man, if I was in their position and I had 4 individuals in Miami that represented a big portion of our company, and I see how they move because we were loud. We were the fun organization, right? I would probably get them all a flight to North Carolina, sit them down in the headquarters, and for lack of better words, put them on game. Like, hey, you guys are young. You guys are touching 10 grand a week, in some cases 100 grand
Put some of it
a month.
away, do this, do that.
Like, understand, like, this is life. This is the real life, right? And what you have right now is going to last because our company's great, but you have to start taking care of your money now. And I wish some OGs would have sat me down and just had that conversation with me. My parents tried, but at that time, you're not listening to your parents. You're listening to your mentors, right? And that's also part of the reason why I'm in finance. because I get to sit down now at 36 with people that are younger than me that are making money and show them, hey, like, don't make these mistakes. Like, yeah, go for the home run every now and then. Trust me, I'm an advocate on going for the home run, but make sure you have a small percentage of whatever you have coming in and put it into these investments. Because if somebody would have had that conversation with me, Christian, back then, I wouldn't have blown 135 grand at the time. I wouldn't have not bought any real estate. I would have been in a different situation now, you know? So that wasn't the answer to your question, but
No, but it's
that's the way
great
my brain
advice
works.
for the guys that are watching this and are
Yep.
making the money or are about to start making the money or pop through it, you know,
Mhm.
because what happens a lot of the times is with sales, it's not that it's feast or famine, but when you're feasting, you tend to spend it a lot faster,
Mhm. Yep.
right? It came in, it's not easy. I mean, it took a lot of work to get your skills and get yourself up to that, but you're right. If you don't have a good mentor that's there and telling you, hey, look, this is how to, all right, now you're making your money, but rule number one is it's not what you make, it's what you keep.
That's what you keep.
And
Yep.
this, so hey, congratulations for making it, but now let's
multiply.
go to let's take you to college level and let's talk about how to keep it, right?
Let's safeguard your money in different buckets, different instruments that it will last forever. Don't just blow it at the club. Do that as a celebration. Don't just blow it on the car. Don't just blow it on the vacation. Safeguard it somewhere where you know it's going to multiply, it's going to grow, and it's going to last you forever, which is what the wealthy people do. You think wealthy people walk around spending up? No. They invest their money, money grows, and money pays them forever. You know, and obviously, you know, it took me many years to learn that lesson and many mistakes to learn that lesson. Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
And thanks for sharing it because that's important for everybody else to.
You got me rolling, man. I'm talking about things that I haven't talked about in over a decade.
Yeah?
You got me going, man.
Well, it's great, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about I'm a coach.
Yeah.
You've mentored a lot of people in your life, and you've been mentored as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about the importance of mentorship in someone's life and how you feel that.
Most important. I think that's probably number one. You know, I meet people all the time. Like we do, Carl as well. I'm sure he talked about it. We do events every month down in Miami, sometimes in Fort Lauderdale, where we get local entrepreneurs together. And for the most part, are entrepreneurs that are up and coming, right? Like the ones that are like successful, they're on the panel. We have them on the panel to then coach and answer questions to the local entrepreneurs. And one of the advice that I give these people, because everybody's trying to do it on their own. Everybody's always trying to do things on their own, right? One of the advice that I give these individuals is stop trying to do it on your own. Find a partner. Find somebody that can mentor you. And if you got to give them half, give them half. If you got to sacrifice some money now to have that partnership, because that mentorship is going to save you so many headaches and mistakes, which is going to save you money. Example, if you get into real estate construction, if you get into development, right? Buying and flipping real estate, you guys understand it's not as easy as buying, financing with the bank, fixing it, and then selling it. There's a bunch of steps, a bunch of hurdles along the way that you have no idea that exist. As silly as a permit that you didn't know existed. And once you put the money in, once you got the money, the property on your side, once you got everything flowing and you're running your numbers, now you got hit with a permit that delays you 4 months. And it's a silly permit, but it delays you 4 months. It costs you money on a monthly basis. And now the numbers that you ran no longer are the numbers. Just an example, right?
Yeah.
But if you had a mentor that has been there, done that, now you save your time, money, and energy, and you got it done the right way, even if you got to take a hit financially. Because guess what? The second time around, now you're put on game. You know what you got to do correctly. So it's so important to have a mentor in business. I always recommend if you're doing anything, social media influencer, credit repair, financial services, network marketing, whatever you're going to do, sales in any form, find somebody that's doing what you want to do. And don't be afraid to ask them. Take them out to lunch. Take them out to dinner. Pay for the tab. And just be a sponge. Get all the information you need, because mentorship in this world is the most important thing when it comes to being successful. Then you got to have mentors in life, because business is one thing. Then you got to have mentors in life. And your mentors cannot be your favorite musician. Your mentors cannot be Kim Kardashian or, I don't know, Andrew Tate. And I love Andrew Tate, but it can't be Andrew Tate. Your mentors got to be people that actually are doing something real in this world. Like me, for example, and I spoke about it in a previous podcast of mine, is my father. For me, my mentor in life is my father. Like for me, my pops, my dad is the person that if I have to be like anybody in this world, it's my father. Now, is my father an entrepreneur? No, he came from Cuba at 30 years old. He was an engineer in Cuba. He came to a new country. He had to start from the bottom, so I get my entrepreneurship mentorship in another area, another department.
Valid point. Valid
But when
point.
it comes to life principles, moving as a man, moving as a son, a brother, a husband, and I'm not a husband yet. I don't have kids yet, but moving in those areas, my father. My father's taught me how to be calm in times that I don't need to be calm. In times that other people teach me how to lash out and be a little erratic, have a knee-jerk reaction, my father doesn't work that way. When you meet my father, he's the calmest person in the world, but he's not a dummy. He understands what's going on, and he knows how to manage it. Just little things like that, right? And that's all part of mentorship. When you have mentorship is business for the audience we're speaking to, but you got to have a life mentorship, and it's usually not the same people.
And
gotta separate
I
that.
love what you said, because you could have many mentors, right? Not just one, but whoever your mentor is, make sure that the mentor is good at what they're mentoring you about, right? So you could have a millionaire mentor that's mentoring you on how to make money, and that has nothing to do with a relationship mentor, because maybe that millionaire mentor has horrible relationships, right? So they can teach you how to make money. They can teach you the principles of making money, but maybe when it comes to personal relationships, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
And when it comes to morals, well, that's a perfect one, man. It's such a beautiful thing to see a son talk about like his dad like that, But absolutely. So just make sure that whoever you're accepting the advice from is somebody that you would like that lifestyle of whatever it is you're getting that advice from. I think that's beautiful. There's a lot to be said there. I hope you guys got that one.
Yeah, and you got to have discernment too to be able to distinguish the difference between both, because you're getting business mentorship from one guy and he has everything you want: the car, the chick, the attention, the impact, the influence, right? And you might just get confused and be like, oh yeah, he's going to teach me how to morally live a good life. But you got to have enough discernment to separate that from reality. And it was very hard when you're in the trenches. It's very hard when you're in momentum. It's very hard when you're in that world. You have to have enough discernment, awareness, whatever you want to call it, to be able to distinguish and separate both. And when you do that successfully, now you're walking on water, because now you can't be touched, because you know that you have a concrete bulletproof vest, which is the mentors that you learned from. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. Like having good discernment. How do you pick up discernment? Through experience, through good conversations, through books, through personal development, not through a rap video, not through a song, not through being at the park. No, you pick it up by learning from people and really picking it up like through personal development and really going out there and creating that separation. Like I don't know how to explain it, but that's
No, you've explained it
what it
very
is, yeah.
clearly. Very
Yeah.
clear. So, Carlos, I always like to wrap up my podcast.
Oh, we're done?
No, well, we don't have to be.
We don't have to be? Okay.
We don't have to be.
I'm
You
kidding,
want
go
to share
ahead.
some cool stuff?
No, go ahead. I'm just
oh,
rolling.
actually, now that you said that, right? So you got very well known for closing when, we were in the network marketing company, and clearly everything you've done has been sales related anyway, right? Is what you're currently doing now kind of like a one presentation close, or is it more building a relationship over time?
There's different layers. Everything is systematic, right?
Okay.
So what I'm doing now is like layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, different layers to get to the finish line, which is the actual close. And I should put my hands up here, right? The camera. Different layers to get to the close. But it's funny because you're right. I'm known as the ultimate closer, as the ultimate shark. I used to go to meetings and like make people cry if they don't want to be a part of what we did. Like Nelson knows what I'm talking about, right? But the difference now is, and it was a very different transition for me. It really was. You could ask Carl when you talk to him. What I do now is not sales. As a matter of fact, if I sell you on what I have to offer today, then I come off as pushy. I come off as somebody that really needs a commission breath, and people run away. Because what I do now for a living is I'm a financial advisor, for lack of better words. And when you do financial advising, you're not selling people on their finances. You're educating them. You're showing them a different way. You're presenting different options. So I've had to learn, and I'm good at sales, but I've had to learn to walk away from the aggressive closing and be a good presenter, which I'm also good, right? To be able to give people the option to choose what it is that is the best fit for them. So to answer your question, there's a long process, a system in what we do now to get from point A to point paid to point close of the sale, but it's not a sales process. It's more like an educational workshop, financial needs analysis, presenting options, underwriting. There's like a bunch of different areas of it where it has nothing to do with sales. So it took a while for me to learn that.
And it doesn't
know?
necessarily happen all in one shot. It may
At
happen
all.
over a series of time.
At
There's
all.
a process to it.
At all, man. In the financial world, I set up meetings for next week. In the world we come from, it's tomorrow, 24 hours. I need to meet them because people lose 25% excitement every 24 hours and they fall in the black hole. Remember that?
Yeah, the ladder.
In the financial world, you're crazy, man. In the financial world, I met a client yesterday over Zoom. Guess when yesterday was Wednesday. I did my financial needs analysis. Guess when the follow-up meeting with that client is? Next Friday. Not this Friday, not Monday, not Tuesday, next Friday. Here's why. Because A, I'm busy. I have a lot going on. B, I need to work now on the back end to make sure the numbers make sense for what he needs for the best fit for him, right? C, if I push him to meet me on Monday, what's the difference of Monday and Friday? Like if he doesn't meet with me on Friday, he was never going to become a client, right? Like I'm not in a position where I need to sign you up now. It's like, if you're going to do this, you're going to do it because it's the best fit for you. So whether it's Monday, Friday, or even 2 weeks from now, if you come back and you get on the call with me, then I know you're going to do it. So I don't need a hardcore close. I don't need to meet you tomorrow. I could take my time because I'm in the financial services world. So to answer your question, I'm not really in sales right now. I'm more in like leadership training, leadership coaching, helping people make, income if they want to through our firm, but also just educating people and showing them different products that might fit their needs. Everybody's different. It's not a one size fits all. Sometimes you meet the entrepreneur that wants tax breaks on their company and wants to set up a 20-year plan. Sometimes you meet the single mother that works at T-Mobile that has a kid and she's 25 years old. Sometimes you meet the bartender. Sometimes you meet the married couple. Like every situation is different. So it's a case-by-case scenario.
I'm assuming part of it is prospecting and part of it is referrals, maybe?
90% of it is client relations, like dealing with clients. 10% is prospecting. There's not a lot of prospecting that goes on in what we do. It's mostly clients, educating, referrals, right? There's different ways to get clients, but 10% prospecting, which I love.
Right.
In the world we come from was 99.9999999% prospecting, right?
Yeah.
Which made us who we are, but now you got to shift that when you get into the real world. The real world is different than the world we were in,
And where do you see yourself going from here on? Obviously, we're not even halfway through the book of Carlos Jimenez, right?
Yeah.
So, you're a senior broker now. What do you see happening in the next 5-10 years?
Within this company, setting up shop, opening up an office, having a headquarters because our company is based out of San Francisco. They got Vegas, San Francisco, Sacramento, Hawaii as well. Setting up shop down here in Florida, which is amazing. Once we have that, it's legit, right? In that sense, just really helping as many families as I can. Building a firm, a small firm, but a real good, solid, quality-driven firm. And in the same token, real estate. Get into real estate, buy off-market deals, put some investments in play, teach people about that as well. And just make the next 10 years my best 10 years. As a matter of fact, it's not even about me. For me, it's more like, okay, my parents are 61, 62, 63, right? My dad's 62, my mom's 61, something in that ballpark. I want to give them the next 10 years, the best 10 years of their life, right? So how do you do that? You need money. You need resources. You need freedom to travel. You need freedom to do things. So to answer your question, yes, I'm building what I'm building within my company. And I have other things like consulting that I told you about earlier that I also do as well. But I'm mostly doing everything for my parents, in my case, and for my future family. Because I'm a family man. I want to have kids, right? I want to have a wife. These things are going to come.
He's single, ladies.
These things are going to come, right? So I'm setting myself up for the future to be a provider for everybody that, enters my circle. At the same time, Christian, I'm also very heavy on living in the moment. So it's like a balance of like setting yourself up for the future, but living in the present moment.
So Carlos, I always end my podcast with the same question. I ask everybody the same thing. Let's say that you ran into your 20-year-old self again, and you've got him in front of you. And because that's my audience, right? It's anybody between the ages of probably 20 and 50, approximately. Good, really good in sales, really good. Just not great yet, but good, right? What kind of advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Buy Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin and close your eyes. No, I'm kidding. I would. That would be advice, literally. But no, I mean, the advice that I would give my younger self, there's so much, right? I could write a whole book and give it to my younger self and be like, hey, read this book and boom,
Follow
your life
it.
will change, right? But if I had to think from the top of my head, like some advice that I would give my younger self, and I learned this real intensely like 4 or 5 years ago. Number one, nothing lasts forever. Think about that. Nothing, maybe the love of your parents lasts forever. That's about it. But nothing really lasts forever. And that was one of the mistakes that we made with ACN. You know, I was making 7, 8, 9, 10 grand a week. I was blowing the money because it was coming right back. I never once in my mind thought or was put on game by the OGs that, hey, there's an expiration date. Like there might be an expiration. Like I always thought I was going to be like the Oren Solomons and the Jennifer Dows and the, I don't know, like, you know, like the big dogs, like the Pat Mazers. I always thought it was going to be a forever thing. And reality hit one time. One day reality hit and it all fell apart for us. Nothing lasts forever. In business, in life, no negative moments last forever. No heartbreak lasts forever. No downtime lasts forever. No good times last forever. So you got to learn how to be even keel. So that's the first thing that I would like tell my younger self, like, hey, everything you're doing, go all in, be that passionate person you are, but just know that nothing is going to last forever. So play it smart, right? Second piece of advice that I will give myself, the third, because the first one is buy Bitcoin. The third one would be nothing is ever what it seems. Think about that. It's all a fugazi. Nothing is ever what it seems, man. There's so many times that I've met, and I don't want to name drop. I don't think is right, even though I would gladly love to drop some names because I'm like that. But so many times that I've met people that you see one thing, that's not who they really are. And you fall for that muela, la labia, and in reality, you end up getting screwed somewhere else because that's not who they really were at the time. They flaunt, especially in Miami, especially in sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is ever what it seems. No crypto is ever what it seems. No company is ever what it seems. No success, nothing. Grant Cardone is not what he seems like. And I love Grant Cardone, but I guarantee you what you see is not what he really is at the end of the day. So when you understand, and you don't got to be so exaggerated with it, right? But when you understand nothing lasts forever and nothing is ever what it seems.
And by the way, we're all Grant Cardone fans.
Yeah,
here.
we're all Grant Cardone fans. We want him on the podcast, but it's just me just like giving, because he could say the same about me and I'm not going to get offended. Because at the end of the day, and I try to live my life as real as I could be. Like, what you see is what you get with me, right? It's a double-edged sword. You're going to see the good and the bad, which is the good and the bad for me. That's why a lot of people love me, but they've seen the good and the bad, right? But the point is that when you have that, you have a shield. Because now you're walking around this world understanding that, hey, I'm open. Let's have a conversation. Let's check it out. Let's see what business we could do together. But I know in the back of my mind, nothing is ever what it seems. So there's something there that I'm not getting the full scope of things, and I'm going to figure it out. And whatever we're doing, it's not going to last forever. Now, hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully this lasts forever. And hopefully this partnership makes us like an Amazon kind of partnership where we're rolling in dough and we have billions of dollars. But my experience is nothing lasts forever and nothing is ever what it seems. And if I would tell that to my younger self, a lot of the investments that I made, I wouldn't have done them. A lot of the ways that I moved in certain scenarios, I wouldn't have done it. The heartbreak that I went through with my ex-girlfriend at the time, it would have been a 2-week heartbreak, not a 2-year heartbreak. That destroyed me for 2 years.
Right.
Us men, we love differently, right?
Right.
Us men, we love unconditionally. So the point is that once you have that as your foundation, you have a shield, and that shield will speed up your process to be successful. So that's what I would tell my younger self. Buy Bitcoin, nothing is ever what it seems, and nothing lasts forever.
Guys, my name is Coach CeeLo. Carlos, thanks so much, man. We love having you here. My name is Coach CeeLo. I have helped thousands of salespeople reach, attain, maintain 6 figures. You keep listening to me, you'll be the next. We're out of here.